Hi guys, so we're moving on to issue 18, which is the Cinderella Spicy Pumpkin Square. I think this is the one that has been most requested for me to make. I think lots of you have struggled with this one. Obviously I haven't made it myself yet, so I'm not sure as to whether the instructions are wrong, but I'm sure it's something that, as we normally do with all the other videos, that we can figure it out along the way. Now we have been given 2 different colours with this issue, and these are the ones that we're going to be using for this square. So we've got a 25-gram ball of the brick red, and then we've also got a new colour which is a 10-gram ball, which I will have to wind because otherwise of course we're going to get it all tangled up as per normal, and this is paprika. So we're starting off with, and it looks like we're going to be using the brick red with most of the whole square, and we're just using this one as a border. So if you start off with the brick red, we're using our 4mm hook like we always do, and just make a slip knot and join it onto your hook, and I'll meet you there. So I've got my slip knot on my hook, and our first instruction is to make 5 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're then going to join with a slip stitch into our first chain, which is this one at the end. If you're unsure which it is, remember to count back 5 from your hook. And there's our foundation ring complete. We then want to chain 5 again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're then going to do a double treble into the ring. So remember, as I always say, to hold the stitches on either side and pull them apart till you can see your hole in the centre, and that's where we're going to be going in through. So to begin our double treble stitch, we're going to yarn over twice. We're then, as I said, going to pull those apart to find the centre of our hole where we need to go into, and pull up a loop, so we've got 4 loops on the hook. We then want to yarn over and pull through 2. We yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and there's our first double treble. We need to do a chain afterwards, and then we're going to repeat that the amount of times it says in the book, which I can't give away for copyright reasons. So we've done 1, I'll do another with you. So yarn over twice, go in through, pull up a loop so you've got 4 on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, and then chain 1. If you complete that the amount of times it says in the book, I'll meet you at the end of the round. So I've gone all the way around, I've done the amount of stitches that it says in the book, I've also done my last single chain. And now the last instruction is to finish with a slip stitch into a 5 chain space. So our 5 chains are the first ones that we did here, and we're just going to go into that space and do a slip stitch, and there is round 1 complete. We now need to do 3 chains. So 1, 2, and 3, and that counts as our first treble. We're then going to do a treble into the same space. So we've come up from here, so we want to go into this one, into here. So yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through 2, and it should look like this. We now want to do 2 trebles into each of the next 1 chain spaces. So we're going to yarn over and go into the next space and pull up a loop and just complete that treble there. And then do another one into the same space. And we're going to do that going all of the way around. So there's 1 and 2. Into the next space, 1 and 2, into the next one, 1 and 2. I'm going to do that going all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end of the round. So I finished that instruction of my 2 chains in each of the 1 chain spaces, and we need to finish off that round with a slip stitch into the top of our 3 chains. So our 3 chains are here. These are the chains that we did at the beginning of the round. So we're going in to the 3rd chain, if I can, and doing a slip stitch just to finish that round off, and that's the end of round 2. For round 3, we're chaining 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. From here, we're then going to do 1 double crochet into the next space between the 2 trebles. So you can see 2 trebles, 2 trebles, 2 trebles, and we're going to be focusing on going into the space between them. So these 2 count as our first 2 trebles. You can see we've got the chains from the first round here and our first treble here. So we're going to go into this space beside it. So we're going into here and doing a double crochet. We're then going to do 1 chain and a double crochet into the next space, which is just here. We're then chaining 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then a double crochet into the next space. We're then chaining 1 and a double crochet into the next space, and then we need to repeat that going round. So we're chaining 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 into our next space with a double crochet. We're then chaining 1 into the next space with a double crochet, chaining 3, 1, 2, and 3 into the next space with a double crochet, then chaining 1 into the next space with a double crochet, and back to the beginning again. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 into the next space, chain 1 and into the next space, chain 3, 1, 2, and 3 into the next space, chain 1 into the next space. Now this should be the last time. Chain 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 into the next space, chain 1 into the next space, chain 3, 1, 2, and 3 into the next space, and then chain 1 and into the last space. And we should have something that looks like this now. So we're now on to round 4, and the first thing we need to do is do 5 trebles, 1 chain, 5 trebles into the first 5 chain space. Our first 5 chain space is here. You can see that big gap. We're going to be going into that one. So yarn over, pull up a loop so you've got 3 on the hook, yarn over and pull through 2 and pull through 2 again, and that is your first treble. We need to do 5. 2, 3, 4, and 5. We then need to chain 1, and we're going to do another 5 trebles into that same space. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. From here, we want to do a slip stitch into the next one chain space. So the spaces are always going to be between, just to get that in focus, you can see I've got 2 lines going down here and 2 lines going down here. Our one chain space is going in between those 2 lines. And then, for example, if you go between the 2 lines on the left here and the ones on the right here by my nails, those will be the next. That's the 3 chain space that we did. So to do a slip stitch into the one chain space, we need to go between these 2, and it's only a 1 chain space, so it's not very big, but we want to go into that gap there. So we're just going in through here and doing a slip stitch, just like so. We're then doing 3 trebles, 1 chain, 3 trebles into the 3 chain space. So yarn over, and remember we're going in between these 2 lines. So we're going in this space now, and we're doing 1, 2, and 3, chain 1, and then another 3. 1, 2, and 3. A slip stitch into our next space, of course we're going in between these 2, so in here. And we're actually forming a square shape at the moment, so we're going into a 5 chain space again now, which means we need to do another 5 trebles, 1 chain, and 5 trebles. So into the next space, and we're going to do the 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, chain 1, and then another 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, slip stitch into your next space, and now we're on our 3 chain space, so we want to do 3 trebles, 1, 2, 3, chain 1, and another 3 trebles, 1, 2, and 3, and then slip stitch into your next 1 chain space again. So we've done 2 sides of the square already, and you've got 2 left, so it's going to be into the next space you're doing 5 trebles, 1 chain, 5 trebles, and then 1 slip stitch, and then 3 trebles, 1 chain, 3 trebles, and then a slip stitch, and you're at your next corner. So 5 trebles, 1 chain, 5 trebles, slip stitch, 3 trebles, 1 chain, 3 trebles, slip stitch, and then you're back at the final corner. Sorry, you're back at the first corner where we started, so I will meet you at the end. So having gone all the way around, we've now got something that looks like this, and the final stitch of round 4 was to do that slip stitch in between your last 2 lines there. So we don't need to do anything else to finish off round 4. We move straight on to round 5. So for round 5 we need to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're then going to do a slip stitch into the 1 chain space. So our one chain space, this is where we did the 5 trebles and then the 1 chain here and then the 5 trebles again. So once we've done our 6 chains, we want to do a slip stitch into that 1 chain space after our first 5 trebles that we did. So it's going into here and slip stitching like that, and it will just lay alongside it just like that. There will be a big gap. We're then going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we want to do a half treble into the slip stitch that we did, which, if you can see that the pattern's going down like that, we want to do it, that's our slip stitch just there, so we want to do it into the dip. So we're yarning over and we're going into that slip stitch space, pulling up a loop, so we've got 3 on our hook, yarning over and then pulling through all 3 loops, so it should look like this. We're then chaining 2, 1 and 2, and we're doing a slip stitch into the 1 chain space, which was between the 3 trebles that we did. So we did 3 trebles and then 1 chain where the gap is there, and then another 3 trebles. So we want to do our slip stitch into the 1 chain space in between them. We're then doing 2 chains again, and then another half treble into the next slip stitch that we did, which is just here. So just like we've just done on the other side. So yarn over and pull up a loop, so you've got 3 on the hook, yarn over and pull all 3 loops. Now the half treble that we've done into this stitch here counts as 2 chains. I know when we originally did this space on the first round we did 6 chains, but we only need to do 4 this time because this stitch we've just done counts as 2. If you don't understand that, don't worry, because I'm fully going to go all the way around showing you how to do it anyway. So we need to do 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then into our corner chain space and do a slip stitch. We're then chaining 4 again. 1, 2, 3 and 4. And we want to do a half treble into our dip of our slip stitch from our last round. So we're going in here and doing our half treble, pulling through all 3 loops. We're then chaining 2, 1 and 2, and doing a slip stitch in between our 6 trebles here. Chain 2 again, 1 and 2, and another half treble into our next dip. And we're back at the corner. So we can chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, into your corner space, a slip stitch, chain 4 again, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and a half treble into your dip, chain 2, 1 and 2, and then a slip stitch in between or in the middle of our 6 trebles there, chain 2 again, and a half treble into the dip. And this should be the last edge of our square that we need to do now. So chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Slip stitch into your corner space. Chain 4 again, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we've got a half treble into our dip. Chain 2, 1, that one didn't quite work, bear with me, 1 and 2, slip stitch into our 1 chain space between our 6 trebles, chain 2 again, 1 and 2, and then we're back where we initially started. So we're going to do a half treble into that dip as before, and then we're going to finish off here with a slip stitch into our 6 chain space. Now this is our 6 chain space in this gap, so we're just going to go through into the gap and just to do a slip stitch, and then we've got something that looks like this, and now we need to start round 6. So for round 6 we're going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3. We're then going to do 5 trebles into our 6 chain space, and this is our 6 chain space as I just said. So yarn over, pull up a loop, so you've got 3, pull through 2 and pull through 2, and there is your first treble. So we've done 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. After you've done those 5 trebles into the 6 chain space, we need to chain 2, so 1 and 2. We're then going to do 6 trebles into the 4 chain space, which is the next space along. So yarn over and in through the next space, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. We're then going to do 3 trebles into each of the next 2 chain spaces. So we've got a 2 chain space here, which is the next space, and then we've got a 2 chain space here, and we're going to do 3 trebles in each of them. So 1, 2 and 3. And into our next space we're doing 1, 2 and 3. 6 trebles into the next 4 chain space, which is here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Then the book has actually got this instruction wrong because we're right on a corner, so we need to create some chains here. So we need to do 2 chains like we did on the first corner, and then we're going to do 6 into the next 4 chain space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And now we're back to our 2 chain spaces. So it was 3 trebles in each of those. So 1, 2 and 3, and then another 3, 1, 2 and 3. Now we're back to our corner ones again, so we need to do 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. As we're out of corner, we're chaining 2, 1 and 2, and then another 6 into our next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 3 in the next space, 1, 2 and 3, 3 in the next space, 1, 2 and 3, and we're now back to a 6 treble space again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 and 6. We've come to our corner again, so we need to chain 2 and then another 6, and this is our last side now of this round. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. 3 trebles into your next space. 1, 2, and 3, and then 3 trebles into this space, and this round should be done. 1, 2 and 3. The last instruction of round 6 is to join with a slip stitch into our 3rd chain. So these are our 3 chains here. So we're going in to our 3rd chain of that first round. So you count up from 3 from the bottom here, and then we're just doing a slip stitch. That is really loose. I will start that again. Pull that one tight on my hook. There we go. Much better. So that's the end of round 6. So we're now on round 7, and this is the last one in the brick red. So we're chaining 2, 1 and 2. We're then doing a half treble into all of our trebles along here. So yarn over into the top of your next stitch, yarn over again and pull through all 3. So we've done 1, and then the next one 2, 3, 4 and 5. We're then at our corner space. So into the corner space we want to do 1 half treble, 2 chains and 1 more half treble. So we're now completely on the corner, and we've just got the whole of the one side of the square to do. So there should be 18 trebles along here. So you've got 6, 6 plus 3 plus 3 plus 6. So you want to do a half treble in each one going along, which will give you 18. I will do the first row with you. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. So now we're back at the corner space onto the other side here. So the same as the last corner, it's 1 half treble, 2 chains, and then 1 half treble. So we're going to carry on with this all the way around. You need to do 18 half trebles into the stitches all the way along here. So you've got 6 into the top of these ones, then 3, then 3, and then 6. And when you get to your corner space, it's 1 half treble, 2 chains, 1 half treble. Go all the way around and I'll meet you at the end. Sorry guys, it completely didn't occur to me that when we get to the last side, we've already done our 6 trebles, our 6 half trebles along here. So we've only got to do from the corner from here to here, which is 12 trebles. So I'm just finishing 12 half trebles. I'm so sorry, my head's all over the place today. So I'm just finishing that one off. I've done 10 already and I'm just doing my final 2. 1 and 2, and then we will have that gap just here. You can see you've got your 6, your 3, your 3 and your 6, so it will just finish in between the last round where you've got your 3 and your 6 stitches here. We then need to, it just says to fasten it off, but it's not joined. I don't want a flimsy gap here, to be quite honest. So I am going to go into the space here and just do a slip stitch just to join them two together, just so it completes the square. That's obviously something they missed out. I'm just going to cut my yarn. There we go. And just slip stitch and fasten that one off, because we're going to change colours now. There we go, that one's all secure now, and your square will look like this. So now we need to use the second colour, which is the paprika, and we're joining it to any corner space, so any of these corners just here, and you can join it and then chain 2. So just in this one just here. So moving on to round 8, which is the last round, and we're going to be joining on our next colour. I've already got my hook into that corner space, and then I'm going to pull up my next colour and make sure to use my working yarn here to 1 chain and 2 chain, and then we can pull on non-working yarn just to tighten that one slightly. There we go, so that one's joined. We're now going to do a half treble into each of the next 20 half trebles. So all the stitches you've just done, there'll be 20. So we need to do a stitch in each one going all the way along. So same stitch as the last round, yarn over, and we're going into the tops of the previous stitches. So there's one, yarn over, pull through all three for number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, ooh, and 20. So we're now at the corner space, and just like the last round, you want to do 1 half treble, 2 chains, and then another half treble. You're then going to do 20 half trebles going all the way along here and into your corner space. Do your 1 half treble, your 2 chains, and your half treble. Repeat that going all the way around, and I shall meet you at the end. So I've just done my 20th half treble along this row, and I've come to my final corner. So from here we want to do 1 half treble into that corner space, and then we need to do 2 chains, and then we're joining with, this has come really loose, so I do need to tighten that one sadly, and then we need to join with a slip stitch into our second chain, which is this one just here, and then we will fasten that one off. So that one's all done. This is our Cinderella spicy pumpkin square. Hopefully you've been able to follow along with the video and it hasn't been too difficult. Again, apologies, it's taken me so long to film. Hopefully now that we're in the summer holidays and my son's got no school, I can start catching up with the issues again. So this was number 18. It'd be wonderful if you could leave a like on the video or a comment below, or just remember to subscribe if you want notifications for as soon as the videos come out. And I will see you for number 19 in the next video. See you then.